What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for July 8th, 2024. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Monday edition of the podcast. Dragging a little bit on this Monday after a nice, extended, long holiday weekend. A lot of fun, though, but time to detox, dry out a little bit this week. But it was a fun weekend. But like I said, dragging. Quick housekeeping note, this weekend going down to Ocean City, Maryland with my parents for a few days. So Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week will be different background. Still will get the podcast up, so no need to worry. We are here every day, 365 days a year. So you will still get your daily Philly sports history lesson. And as much as I'm dragging this weekend, it was just a nightmare weekend for the Phils after that great game on Friday. 6-0 they lost. Michael Mercado just could not get it going. He got roughed up, gave up 3 home runs, 5 runs. I guess if you're going to take some positives out of the weekend, though, I think considering we were a depleted team and we have reinforcements on the way, that is a takeaway. Schwarber should be back Tuesday. Harper is a possibility that he could be back on Tuesday as well. I have a feeling that he will be. I think he's going to push it, especially since it's a big series against the Dodgers. He was running almost 100% 2 days in a row. Rob Thompson said whenever he's ready, he's back in the lineup. And I'm basing this on absolutely nothing, just what I know about Bryce. I think he's going to push to try to play on Tuesday. JT looks like he's going to be back after the All-Star break. But if Schwarber and Harper are back tomorrow, not bad for the Phils. They went 4-4 without those two. I would have liked to see them take another series or another game against the Braves, but all told, I'll take 4-4. Still have that 8-game lead. Another positive from yesterday is the bullpen was pretty solid in relief. Tyler Phillips was a great story. South Jersey kid from Lumberton made his major league debut. Went 4 innings, 3 hits, 7 strikeouts, and 1 earned run. And the 7 strikeouts actually is the set of Phillies record. It was the most by a Philly making their debut in relief. And I believe, I could not get confirmation on this, but I think it was the most, or tied Cole Hamels for the most strikeouts in a debut by a Philly. So kudos to him. That would be a much needed boost to that bullpen if he can remain consistent. Again, despite the nightmare weekend, they're still up 8 games. Braves are in Arizona. So we are all Diamondbacks fans tonight. All-star teams were announced, or the reserves, I guess. Zach Wheeler, Ranger, Jeff Hoffman, Matt Strom are joining Bryce, Trey, and Alec as the Phillies All-Star. 7 players from this team, which I think makes sense, to be honest. They could have had more, but 7, that is a franchise record. They the previous record was 6. They set that in 1951 through 1953. 3 straight seasons they had 6 All-Star. It is the most Phillies in an All-Star game since 2009 when they had 5. But they have a much-needed day off today before starting that big series against the Dodgers. Zach Wheeler likely won't pitch in the All-Star game because of the way his normal scheduled starts would go. He's scheduled to pitch Sunday. Or he's pitching tomorrow, and then he'll pitch again Sunday before the All-Star game. And I think that's, if any of them, I don't think it's as big of a deal for him. He's probably more wants to get his normal day's rest, but just a rough weekend for the Phils. Still have that 8-game lead. Let's go Diamondbacks. I've been talking a lot about Philly Goat. I know we have a lot of new listeners out there. So if you haven't done so, Phillies are off. It's a good day to just go check out the Philly Goat site. Do a little shopping. It's supposed to be hot again. And be sure to scroll down through those shirts. The shirts they have, the selection is they're the best out there. They're the GOAT for a reason. Check out those shoes too. The canvas loafers are the perfect summertime accessory. I'll get it out. Accessory to your outfit. And they're comfortable too. I cannot stress how comfortable these shoes are. And I've said it, and like it was hot this weekend. I wore all 3 pair I have. I wore the Cape Mays, I wore the Schmitties, and I wore the Fans. And putting those socks from Amazon, those no-show loafer socks, I think they were called, my feet did not stink them up, did not sweat. So go check out Philly Goat. Look at their collection of shirts. Check out the shoes. They have some pretty cool hats as well. So use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off your order. You get 10% off, and it helps me out. Lets Ryan know that you're listening. But phillygoat.com, use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off. And be sure to just kind of explore the site. Look at what they have. They have some pretty cool stickers for your cars as well. So, or your water bottles. I know that's big. My kids love putting stickers on their water bottle. Get some stickers from Philly Goat. Why not? But just be sure to use that promo code Jim Montgomery. All right. I wanted to address this, and it's a Monday. I'm kind of exhausted, so probably going to go a little bit more than what I normally would. I don't want to make this political, but there definitely is some political things involved in this. However, a lot of people, as the U.S. Olympic team started their practices, a lot of people were ripping Joel Embiid for being on the United States team. He is a Cameroonian native. I think it's Cameroonian, but I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up. I'm not sure if it's Cameroonian, but he is from Cameroon. He also has citizenship in France. Obviously, he's American citizens as well. But people are saying, oh, man, ring chasing for the Olympics with Joe and just ripping him for not being truly American. And I kind of have to say, whoa, let's pump the brakes a little bit on this, because he's doing it for the Philly fans. Obviously, we don't want him to get hurt, but I think it's great that we haven't had a guy that I can remember that played on the Olympic team since AI. But he wants to honor his son, who is an American citizen. And he's doing it for him because he's old enough to watch now. It gives him something to sort of believe in. He spent the majority of his life in America. And I'm pretty sure he did most of his basketball from AAU on up in America. He learned the game in America. And truthfully, to me, it's kind of like a symbol of the American dream. Like, look, you can achieve this. So I just don't get it. And hear a lot about it's an election cycle right now. You're seeing all the political ads talking about immigrants doing this, but this is an example of an immigrant coming in and doing something positive and wanting to be a part of the country, play for the United States Olympic team, and to honor his son. Like, he met his wife here, and his son is old enough now that he wants to sort of say, hey, watch your dad in the Olympics on TV. So, like, I just don't get it. I don't know if, and this is why I didn't want to turn it too political, because I don't know if it's a political thing because he's an immigrant and not born here, like an American native, or if it's more just the amount of hate that this guy gets is just, and he just rolls with it. So, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on that. Do you have a problem with Joe playing for the United States Olympic team? I don't. He's an American citizen. And it's not like he is doing it to win the gold medal, because if he wanted to be the star, he would play for Cameroon or even France for that matter. But the fact that he's doing it because of his son, I think that's, and to honor the fans in America who have supported him throughout his whole process, I just think, and I know social media sometimes can be just a hateful place sometimes, but I just don't get it in this. It's like, you know what, like, if he was saying, I want to win a gold medal, then yeah, maybe. And that was a poor Joe impression too. But he's doing it to honor his son. I think you can rip Joe for a lot of things, but I think this is coming from probably the most pure place. I just don't get it. But let me know what you think. 267-495-8531. That'll get you in on the Back to the Future voice and text line. I just don't get it. And maybe I'm naive. Maybe I'm too idealistic. I don't know. But to me, I think it's much ado about nothing, especially because there's so much positivity going on with the Sixers right now. And I just don't get the Joe hate. And I just, He's one of the best players in the world. He wants to play for us. And the United States Olympic Committee could have said, no, we don't want. It's just, I don't know. Is it a big deal? Am I just following or seeing a certain amount or a certain group of people on social media that just are negative people? But let me know what your thoughts on it. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's great as a dad to want to do something like that for your kid and give him something to sort of hang on to and say, hey, that's my dad. But let me know. Paul George will be wearing number 8 to honor Kobe Bryant, who is one of his heroes. Love that. I just didn't like him as much when he was a player, and I think a lot of it stemmed from just my history with Kobe. He beat us in high school and then beat my pro team in the NBA Finals. But you can't deny the greatness. So the fact that Paul George wants to honor Kobe in Kobe's hometown, I'm all for it. And this is probably, you may have missed this. I noticed this very late last night that the Sixers put out, and they did this special ceremony for Maxey, who is just one of my, how can you not like Tyrese Maxey? The guy signed his contract officially, his extension. They told him to wait until this summer so they could get all of the free agents and build the team around him. He did it, and he got rewarded for it. So they did like a nice little ceremony for him. The Sixers put the video out, and if you haven't checked it out, the video is great. Like, you have to love Tyrese, and the fact that, going back to Joe too, the connection that those two have, you can tell it's genuine, and they really, really do care and like each other a lot. And I'm pumped for this. But in that video, Dr. J presented him with a Maxey jersey that was the old school black Allen Iverson jersey. And then they had a cover of Slam magazine, and I don't know if it was a real one or they just put him on there, but Tyrese was wearing that black jersey. So that leads me to believe that the Sixers, I don't know if they did it on purpose, likely they did, but could that be the Sixers City Connect jersey this year, or could they just be bringing them back a la the Eagles with the Kelly Green jersey? If they are bringing back those black jerseys, one of my favorite Sixers jerseys are those black ones that AI wore. The other ones, like the white ones, are okay. They had the blue ones at one point. They were okay, but those black ones are nice. So I am hoping that they do that, because I will totally buy a hat, a shirt, whatever. But be sure to check out that video, because those jerseys are hot. One of my favorites. So I would love for them to bring them back. Flyers news, they re-signed Igor Zamala. Again, not a sexy pick. They're running back a lot of the team from last year, which everybody's ripping the way they're doing it. And I've talked a lot about the mess that Danny Briere and Keith Jones inherited, but they just kind of died down the stretch last year. They were right there, like, not for most of the season. They were not even the wild card. They were in the top 6 in the Eastern Conference. Top 6. So I'm okay with running them back, adding Mishkov. You're not going to have the Carter Hart distraction. You're not going to have any of the other distractions. You're going to know what the team is. And I'm looking for John Tortorella to really get the most out of this team. So if they're going to run it back for this year with their eyes on next offseason, I'm all for it. Jet Lachenko officially signed his entry-level contract, and he seemed like, by all accounts, he was doing well in their little camp or whatever they had. So if that's the case, sign me up. But more importantly, those black jerseys are coming back. They have to be coming back. Why else would he give him a black jersey and then show the picture of Slam magazine with Maxey wearing it? Listen, I'm just saying, if they are, I might excuse me, I may have to make a purchase of one of those black jerseys as well. The only question is going to be, do I get Joe or do I get Tyrese? Let me know that on the Back to the Future voice and text line if you're going to weigh in about Joe. which jersey would you get? Do you get Joe or do you get Maxey? I think I might have to lean Maxey. As much as I like Joe, might have to go Maxey on this one. But let me know. Black jersey, Sixers, yay or nay. All right. I want to wish today, we are going back to 1933, and I want to wish a very, very special and happy 91st birthday to your Philadelphia Eagles. On this day in 1933, the NFL granted Bert Bell and Wray the rights to start an expansion team in Philadelphia. They are taking the place, or they would be taking the place of the old defunct Franford Yellow Jackets. And there's a lot of debate about this, but everybody says, oh, well, they just bought the Yellow Jackets. And they did not buy the Yellow Jackets. They bought the rights to the NFL in Philadelphia. And none of the guys from the old Franford Yellow Jackets played for the Eagles that first year in 1933, even though they used this similar jersey scheme. But the Eagles, we've talked about this before, they were named after the Blue Eagle, which was the logo of FDR's National Recovery Act plan after the Great Depression. And so Bert Bell and Wray said, hey, we're in Philadelphia. Let's name them the Eagles. It also does serve as the symbol of our country. But everybody thinks it was based on the bald eagle, but it's based on the National Recovery Act logo that FDR had for all of his plans and organizations that he started to help get the country out of the Great Depression. During the first 90 seasons for the Eagles, they have compiled a record in the regular season of 624, 636, and 27. 25 and 26 in the playoffs in 30 playoff appearances. Let's get that record over 500 this year, boys. 15 division titles, including 12 NFC East titles. They appeared in 4 NFL championship games pre-Super Bowl, 47, 48, 49, and 60, winning 3 of them. They've also appeared in 4 Super Bowls, 15, 39, 52, and 58, winning 1 of them. So now that they have the Super Bowl, I'm very big on this. They have a Super Bowl. They are 4-time NFL champions. 1-time Super Bowl, but 4-time NFL champions, the Philadelphia Eagles. 13 Hall of Famers that are mostly associated with the Eagles: Chuck Bednarik, Bert Bell, Bob Brown, Harold Carmichael, Brian Dawkins, Sonny Jurgensen, Pete Pios, Norm Van Brocklin, Tommy McDonald, Greasy Neale, Steve Van Buren, Reggie White, and Dick Vermeil. Likely going to add a few more names to that once Andy Reid gets in. But although he's probably at this point going to be more associated with the Chiefs since he's won, but we'll count Andy Reid for us because we count Reggie, so we'll count Andy as well. But happy 91st birthday, Philadelphia Eagles. Let's get championship number 5 this year, and number 5 is a big number for us. It's my birth date. Donovan McNabb, the greatest quarterback ever in Eagles history. So let's get that 5th championship this year, Philadelphia Eagles. But happy birthday. 91 years ago in 1933, the Philadelphia Eagles officially became an NFL franchise when the NFL awarded Bert Bell and Wray the rights to Philadelphia as an expansion team. All right, it is time for the Ultimate Philly Sports Nickname Tournament. And yesterday, we had one complete route and one that went down to the wire where it was 51-49%. So let's start with that one. Dirty Waters, Andre Waters edged out Tug McGraw with 51% of the vote to move on. By far our closest matchup of the first round so far. But Dirty Waters moves on over Tug McGraw. And then really, I think the only thing that shocked me is the fact that Eagles got 0 votes. Weapon X, Brian Dawkins, is moving on out of the Balboa region with 100% of the vote. So it's Weapon X and Dirty Waters. In honor of the Eagles' birthday, both Eagles move on. Weapon X out of the Balboa region, Dirty Waters out of the Schuylkill region, and they are moving on. We have 2 more first-round matchups. Excuse me. And then the second round will kick off on Wednesday. But let's get into today's matchup. First, out of the Ben Franklin region, we have, it's actually today's, both matchups are Eagles versus Sixers. So we talked a lot about Eagles and Sixers today. Excuse me. I feel like Baba Booey from Howard Stern. How come every time you talk, you get the... Anyway. But out of the Ben Franklin region, we have the number 2 seed, the Boston Strangler. Yes, Andrew Toney, shooting guard for the Sixers, the number 8 pick in the 1980 NBA draft. Spent 8 seasons in Philly, averaged 16 points a game, 4 assists. He was a 2-time All-Star. He is a Philadelphia Sports Hall of Famer, but most importantly, he is an NBA champion, was a big part of that 82-83 championship team. Unfortunately, injuries and problems with his feet had cut his career short. It also led to tensions with the Sixers management because they didn't realize his feet were as messed up as they were. But the Boston Strangler, one of the greatest names in Philly sports, and the origin came, ironically enough, the Boston sports media are the ones that named him the Boston Strangler just because of the way he would dominate the Celtics every time they played, specifically in the playoffs. In the 1982 Eastern Conference Finals, he had 3 30-point games, including 34 in Game 7. So the Boston Stranglers are number 2 seed out of the Ben Franklin region. And he is taking on our number 15 seed. Very controversial 15 seed, but FredEx. Yes, Freddie Mitchell, the number 25 pick in the 2001 draft, only spent 4 years in Philly, and in his 4 years would have been a great season. 90 catches, 1,200 yards, 5 touchdowns, pretty much what you would consider a bust in the NFL. And the only reason he snuck into the tournament, one, was because I didn't want to put guys with nickname or just the initials in, but because of one play, and that was 4th and 26, and Freddie was known he was a talker. I just want to say thank you to my hands for being so great. But the origin of his nickname, likely, I could not find the actual origin of it. Something tells me he gave himself the nickname because he always delivers. But because he delivered that one time, well, maybe 2. He had a good game. The year they went to the Super Bowl, he played well in the divisional round against Minnesota, stepping in for T.O. But he did deliver that one time, so that's why he snuck in as a 15 seed. He delivered big that day. The people's champion, FredEx, is our number 15 seed. Now it's your turn. Who has the better Philly sports nickname? Out of the Ben Franklin region, is it the number 2 seed, the Boston Strangler, or is it the 15 seed FredEx? Get your votes in on the Back to the Future voice and text line 267-495-8531. Get that and anything else Philly sports related off your chest. And now we move to the Cheesesteak region. And in the Cheesesteak region, we have the number 4 seed, the round mound of Rebound. Charles Barkley, a fan favorite, a legend in Philadelphia. He was the number 5 pick in the 1984 draft, spent 8 years in Philly, and while in Philly, he was a 6-time All-Star, won the MVP in the All-Star game in 1991. He's on the NBA's 50th and 75th anniversary team. His number 34 is retired. In Philly, he averaged 23 points, almost 12 rebounds a game. He is the Sixers' number 3 all-time leading rebounder, number 1 in offensive rebounds. And if you take away the Syracuse national stats, he is the number 1 rebounder in Sixers history. And he is an NBA Hall of Famer. He had just ups and downs in his career. One of the greatest Nike campaigns ever was the I am not a role model. If you remember that, I don't get paid to be a role model. But the origin of his nickname, the round mound of Rebound, came from when he was in Auburn, and he was just a rebounding machine. He could move with quickness too. I think a lot of people forget how fast Charles Barkley was. He would be able to take a rebound, run the length of the court, throw down the two-handed jam. But that all started when he was in Auburn. So the round mound of Rebound is our number 4 seed in the Cheesesteak region. He is taking on the number 13 seed, Greasy Neale. Alfred Earl Neale was the Eagles head coach from 1941 to 1950. He compiled a 63, 43, and 5 record. He did win 2 NFL championships in 3 appearances. The only Eagles coach to ever win 2 titles for the same team. or win 2 titles in Philly, I should say. He's number 2 all time for the Eagles in wins, and he's an Eagles Hall of Famer. He's in the College Football Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, both as a coach. And a little fun factoid on Greasy Neale. He actually played professional baseball as well and did spend a season in Philadelphia with the Phillies in 1921. The origin of this name stemmed from when he was working in a steel mill as a youngster, and a lot of ball busting were going on, and he was ripping one of his co-workers, and the co-worker was like, yeah, well, you're Greasy. Greasy Neale actually liked the name, and it stuck. So that is the origin of that name, Greasy Neale. Nothing to do with the way he moved on the football field. Had to do because he worked in a steel mill, and the best that his co-worker could come up with was, yeah, well, you're Greasy. All right, it is your turn, though. Who's got the better Philly sports nickname? Is it the Round Mound of Rebound, or is it Greasy Neale? And then is it the Boston Strangler, or is it FredEx? Get your votes in, 267-495-8531 on the Back to the Future voice and text line. You can hit me up on social media as well, Twitter and TikTok, at Jimbo_Mont, at Philly Jimbo on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn. Email me, text me, whatever you got to do. Get those votes in. But is it the Boston Strangler versus FredEx, and then the Round Mound of Rebound versus Greasy Neale? Your chance to get your vote in. On this day in 1933, the Philadelphia Eagles were officially born when the NFL granted Wray and Bert the rights to the franchise in Philadelphia to take the spot of the old Franford Yellow Jackets, who won the first football championship in Philly. A little side note there. But happy birthday, Eagles. Let's make it championship number 5 this year, because number 5 will always love you. And if you bring number 5 home, I will be a happy person. But let me know your thoughts on Joe and the Olympics. Is this really an issue, or is it just haters being haters? And also, how about those jerseys? Let me know your thoughts on the jerseys. I'm pumped. I really am. I am super pumped about that. Send some healing vibes to Bryce Harper so that he can play in that Dodgers series. But man, I keep going back to those black jerseys, man. I'm pumped about those black jerseys. But let me know your thoughts. Maybe you don't like them. And that's okay. That is okay here on a Monday. The first Monday after a long holiday weekend, too. Hopefully you can get through some work today. Spread the word to your people at work. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont. Check out our friends over at Philly Goat. But this has been This Day in Philly Sports History for July 8th, 2024. I'm Jim Montgomery. And until next time, go have yourself some Monday, and I'll see you when I see you.